Hi.
All right, guys, the day is finally here. The day that has felt so highly anticipated for so long in the book community. It Ends With Us, the movie, is finally out. I am a few days late seeing it. It came out last week. I have managed to avoid most movie spoilers, but at this point, I think we know this movie is everywhere for so many reasons. Honestly, from start to finish of this movie coming out, it has been nothing but controversy, and it feels like now that it's already out, things are just ramping up and getting worse and worse. So I don't know if excited is the right word when it comes to seeing this movie. I'm definitely very interested to see how it's turned out. I've heard really mixed reviews, but honestly, most of the people that I've heard from seem to really like it, thought that they did a really good job with it. I read It Ends With Us years ago. It actually was one of my earliest book reviews on this channel. It is still far and away my most viewed book review that I have. I still get comments on it every single day, which is crazy. So I knew when this movie came out, I was gonna have to go and see it and talk to you guys about it. So that is what I'm gonna do today. I have so many thoughts around everything involving this movie, but I'm gonna save those to the end. I'm gonna go see the movie now. I'll give my thoughts on the movie, and then I will continue to just yap for probably an extra 10 to 15 minutes after that, because you guys know I love to do that. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Fingers crossed it's good. I think it'll be good, but we'll discuss. Okay guys, I literally just got back. I walked in that door, walked over, sat on this couch, turned on my camera because I immediately need to unpack what I just watched with you guys, because that is not what I expected. My expectations, like I think I communicated at the beginning of this video, can't remember, that was a few hours ago, my expectations were low. You know, I have been here, as many of you have, for the whole journey of It Ends With Us. From, you know, years ago when it was announced that the book was going to be turned into a movie, you know, we found out Justin Baldoni picked it up, that he was going to be directing it. We got to see the cast choices come out. We got to see the behind the scenes little pictures going around of Blake Lively wearing very questionable outfit choices, and everything sort of released about it, even up until now with all the PR mess that's happening, which we'll get to, has just made it seem like it was going to be a bit of a shit show. And, you know, there's been a lot of books that blew up on Book Talk in the last few years that have been turned into movies, turned into TV shows, and as a reader, I feel like it's really hard to ever feel like the movie, TV show, whatever adaptation, it's hard to feel like it's, you know, as good as the book is. It's really hard because a book, you can get way more details in, you know? A movie can only be so long. So it's very rare when I feel like a movie truly does a book justice, and this is one of those times where I truly think it was fantastic. Like, I'm not sure I would change anything if I was given the power to do that. And it's funny, my sort of relationship with this book, because not to be that totally annoying person, but I read It Ends With Us before it blew up, before it became really popular, before everyone knew about it. And I had no idea going into the book what it was. I just thought it was a romance story, and so I was prepared for a sweet little story, and so I got to really experience It Ends With Us as I feel it was always intended for someone to experience it, meaning that I started the book just thinking it was a love story between Lily and Ryle, and, you know, there's this boy from her past, like, oh, maybe it's gonna be a bit of a love triangle. You truly fall in love with Ryle. You see how charming he is, you get very attached to him, and I was like, oh my god, this guy's great, he's husband material, whatever. And then the plot twist of it all, you realize that it is a book about domestic violence, and I did not know that going in. So my heart broke right along with Lily the first time, you know, Ryle was physical with her, and I felt like I really got to be there for the entire journey of it all. And I've always like said and thought, like, that is the point of this book, is to see domestic abuse through the eyes of someone that is living it, like getting to see from beginning to end and getting to understand that it's not always so easy and so cut and dry and so black and white. And so that is why, like, I have said time and time again, I've talked about this on TikTok. I've tried to. TikTok's a scary place. I honestly don't really like it over there. Like, I prefer YouTube, and because I feel comfortable with you guys, this is, you know, people that come for long form content, they want to hear the entirety of what someone has to say, not like 2 words and then go into the comments and scream at them. So I feel safe with you guys. So I will harp on the point that I feel like I always harp on with this book, because It Ends With Us was really popular when it came out, and over time now it's gotten this reputation behind it. It's like, it feels like with the internet, everyone's just like in an echo chamber, and it's like someone will say something, someone will form an opinion about something, and like these certain buzzwords just get thrown around just like permanently after that. And so what has been thrown around about It Ends With Us repeatedly forever that I can't understand is people say that this book like romanticizes abuse. And look, I'm gonna say right off the bat, this is not a story that I can relate to. So I am in no way trying to act like I can. It's not like for me to say one way or another if it's like offensive, but I don't understand is what I will say, what people mean by that when they say it romanticizes abuse, because the entire point of the book is that Colleen Hoover's mother experienced abuse from her father. So she wrote this story to like put you in the shoes of someone that has experienced this behavior and show you that it's not so simple. And, you know, at the end of the day, she leaves him. Like, that is the whole story. The cycle of abuse ends. She does not stay with the man that abuses her. Like, she gets away. She doesn't allow it to happen. She finds a way out, whatever. So I don't know why people say the abuse is romanticized. I think it does the exact opposite. It shows how horrible it is, how it ruins, you know, people's lives and affects everyone and stays with you forever. Like, it's such a deep book, and I've never really been affected by a book, I feel like, in the way that this book affected me. It's very easy to have an opinion about something that you haven't experienced or that you don't know anything about. And this is one of the first books I read that really kind of opened my eyes, and just, you know, you walk a mile in someone's shoes and you kind of get to understand it better. And I think it really brings awareness to people going through this type of thing and to not judge them. And I can go on and on and on and on. But my point of all of this is that I think the movie did such a good job of portraying what happened in the book. You know, you really like Ryle at the beginning, like, yes, there's some red flags there of him like kicking the chair, and there are some moments where he comes on a bit strong, but it really comes off as like charming, and he's genuinely, you know, a nice guy, and he's got great friends, and his sister loves him, and he's got, you know, a great job, and he just seems, on paper, he seems so great. And you see him and Lily like really fall in love, and it's little things that happen, and then it builds, and then finally everything just breaks, and you see they do love each other now, so it's not so easy to leave. And just like thing after thing that happens, oh my god, it hurt. It hurt because now, especially going into the movie, it's like I knew what was gonna happen. So as I'm sitting here feeling all charmed by Ryle, I'm just like, god damn, I hate this man. I hate this man. It's so hard. It's so hard. But I think they did a great job. And it's funny, something that's been like discussed so much about this movie is the cast. And a lot of people were really unhappy with the casting choice. And I kind of feel the same way that most people feel, in that Blake Lively was not my choice at all for the role of Lily. I thought that, I always pictured her as playing Verity, like so intensely. She is Verity in my head. So whenever I found out she was playing Lily, I was like, damn it, because we're not going to get her as Verity now. But I feel the same way as I feel like most people feel, that she just is a little too old to play Lily. A big reason why this story happens the way it happens is because Lily is supposed to be a young girl in her early 20s with, you know, a slightly older guy, and it's supposed to give her this like naivety. And, you know, there have been reasons explained for why they aged up the actors, because Ryle's supposed to be a neurosurgeon, he needs to be older than he was. But I don't know, I think Blake did a good job. Like, having seen it now, I'm not like upset at her performance. I thought she did good, but she wouldn't have been my choice, but she was good. Justin Baldoni as Ryle was not how I pictured Ryle at all. When that choice was made, I was like, I don't really get it. Like, he's just not what I saw in my head. You know, I just thought Ryle was gonna be like a bigger guy. I pictured him with kind of like a lighter brown hair, and I feel like he had like hazel eyes in the book. Not that like it matters that much, but he just wasn't how I pictured him. So I was like not quite sure about that choice. And I know everyone was like, oh, Theo James, we wanted Theo James, which I still, of course, yes. If that was an option, I would have said yes. But I will say, he was a very good choice for that character in the way that he has his eyes. His eyes were scary. He had this way of just being very charming and coming off very just like hot and nice and whatever, but like he could turn on, he could flip that switch in the same way I feel like Ryle does, and his eyes go from like light and, you know, welcoming and whatever to just like dark and scary and like I don't trust him. So I thought he was great. And Atlas, oh my god, I think Atlas was the best casting choice of anyone. Adult Atlas. I don't know his name. I don't remember his name, the actor's name. I thought he was perfect. I always kind of pictured Atlas a little bit to be like, my fan cast was the actor that plays Gabrielle in Emily in Paris. He of course is like kind of how I pictured him, but we got the brown hair, we got the blue eyes. I have no notes. I thought Adult Atlas was a fantastic actor. He played the part exactly how I would have imagined Atlas. I wanted more of him, honestly. He was just not in the movie that much, but I mean, he was in it just as much as he was in the book, I feel like. Loved him. Loved him so much. Young Lily and Atlas. I just thought it was a little funny. I mean, young Lily, she was able to make her voice sound exactly like Blake, and she looked a lot like her, but I did think it was kind of funny, and I will say this as a natural redhead. You know, there are so few like redhead actresses out there that, or it's not that there's so few, but my point is there are so, you know, compared to like blondes, brunettes, whatever, there aren't as many roles that like require a redhead actress. And so I just thought it was kind of funny that we had to get like Blake Lively, who had to have her hair dyed red, and then this young version of Blake Lively had to have her hair dyed red, and then she was wearing these colored contacts that honestly were freaking me out. She looked like a character in Twilight or something. Like, those contacts were so obvious in her eyes to me. Like, they just looked so fake, and her eyes were just so like intense that I couldn't look at anything else. I just saw her fake contacts the whole time. So I'm like, we couldn't have found anyone else that just looked a little more like Blake, or maybe just skipped the contacts. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, we couldn't just pick two redhead actresses. Young Atlas, I didn't think really looked much like old Atlas. Probably wouldn't have been my choice, but overall, I'm happy with the casting after seeing it now. I thought everything worked. Like, I really don't have any complaints. Oh my god, Alyssa and Marshall were so good. Alyssa was hilarious. The actress that played her, she was perfect. She was perfectly quirky and funny. She was that comedic relief like you needed throughout. I laughed at her every single time she spoke. She was so good, so funny. I loved her. She was perfect. It was just really good. It made me feel all of the feels. Just that very intense scene. I was waiting. I knew because they really made you fall in love, and the montage of the two of them dating and everything was just perfect, and they were happy. And so I was waiting for the moment it was going to happen. I was like, what's going to happen with, you know, the first time whenever he burns his hand on the pan, like, and that scene happened. And it was just like, oh, they did such a good job of like, because so much throughout the book, like, you know, you're reading from kind of Lily's perspective. So the first, you know, few times things happen with Ryle, like, you think he's like, it's an accident, it was an accident. So it kind of looked like it was an accident the first time it happened. Like, it looked like, you know, he just burned his hand and he didn't mean to and whatever. And so I thought they did a really good job of kind of like continually replaying those scenes and showing more and more each time when they happened that, like, no, he meant to elbow her, or he meant to push her, or he meant to, you know, do everything that he did. it was just a snap reaction, but it happened and it wasn't okay. And I thought they portrayed that really, really well. And that scene, I forever think about the scene. It's just so tense when they go into the restaurant and Ryle's got his hand wrapped and she's got her like black eye, and Atlas notices and like connects the dots, and oh my God, going to the bathroom and her talking to Ryle, and then Atlas and Ryle showing up and her saying Atlas's name. So then he's like, oh, Atlas, the homeless guy you fucked. It's like, oh my God. That's just, that situation could not have gone worse, actually. And that scene was done so well. Like it was directed very, very well. Directed, me acting like I'm some film critic, like what am I talking about? I thought that scene was really, really good. Also, one thing that I noticed, like the line that will forever trigger me and so many people from this book is like, Lily, where'd you get the magnet? You know, because Atlas gave Lily this Boston magnet and she kept it all these years, and he ends up, you know, Ryle puts 2 and 2 together with the magnet that Atlas must have given it to her. So that's like, oh my God, the moment in the book where everything really, really hits the fan, like for real that time. Lily, where'd you get the magnet? And you just know he's gonna snap and he's gonna lose it. And so the magnet was not in the movie, but instead, which I think made a lot of sense, honestly, you know, Ryle like dropping her phone and seeing that Atlas had put his number inside of her phone case, and him snapping, which I'm trying to remember if that happened in the book or not. I genuinely can't remember. I've kind of like gaslit myself into thinking maybe it did happen, because whenever he said that he called the number, I feel like I remember that, but maybe I don't. I don't know. But that moment, like that, I think that made a lot of sense for that to kind of be the big sort of breaking point where everything from there just like really goes downhill. Yeah, it's just, it's scary. God, I remember just like that feeling of reading the book where it was so tense and you just never know when he's gonna be upset. You never know what to expect out of him, and like waiting for it to happen in the movie, like you have these moments of happiness in between and then it'd go back to being not happy, and it was just, it was a really hard watch. You know, one thing that people like have been saying about Colleen Hoover books the last year consistently is that they're all a big like trauma dump. You know, she really just, all of her books are just super dark and depressing, and that's something that I've known. I mean, I've read most of Colleen Hoover's books, and there usually tends to be some sort of twist in them, something dark, something, you know, not pleasant. But reading this book, I mean, I read the book, obviously I knew what happened, but it's kind of funny when you watch it in a movie span that's so short, you truly realize like how every character in this story had experienced serious levels of trauma. I mean, when you get the like back-to-back, it's like, you know, Lily's mother is being abused by her father. Atlas's mother is being abused by his stepfather or her boyfriend. And then, you know, Atlas is forced to be homeless because he gets kicked out. And then Lily's dad beats Atlas within an inch of his life. And then from there, you know, you find out like Ryle is abusing Lily, so that's obviously the main part of the story. But then you also find out that Ryle is sort of the way he is because he accidentally shot his younger brother and killed him when they were children. It's just like, when you see all of that, oh, and then after the fact too, you find out that the night that, the first like time that Lily saw Atlas and realized he was staying in that abandoned house across the street, like he was gonna kill himself. He went there to kill himself, but then he saw Lily and he decided not to, and she saved his life. So it's like all of that compiled as you're reading a book. It's like, it's still a lot, but when it's all in a movie, you're just like, damn, like every person in this movie has had something horrific happen to them. So it's just, it is a lot. And Colleen Hoover's books do tend to be that way. You know, it's interesting. I went through a big declutter of my bookshelves like a month or two ago, and I got rid of like 75% of my books, and I actually got rid of almost all of my Colleen Hoover books, including It Ends With Us, because I just didn't think I was gonna ever read it again. It was a hard read. I didn't think I'd want to read it. But yeah, I still don't think I would read it because it's not like a pleasant experience. But watching this movie, because it's been some years, I think I kind of just forgot like how much the book really did impact me, and how it was one of the first books that really, really sucked me in, and truly, like, I felt really big emotions reading it. And I don't know, the movie just made me relive it, and I think it's a good story. I know a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about it. It's not a happy story. I mean, it's happy if you want to look at it a certain way. And then, you know, it ends with them, and Blake gets to be with Lily gets to be with Atlas at the end of the day, and it all works out in the end. But it was a good story, and I think it was a really good movie. And I'm really sad to see the PR nightmare that is happening. Every single day, more and more news is coming out with it. Blake Lively is not looking too great when it comes to this movie, and the press surrounding it, and the drama with her and Justin Baldoni, like, not doing any press together, not being seen speaking to each other. And now literally just today, as I'm filming this, I find out that Blake is filing some lawsuits trying to say, or saying that I guess Justin Baldoni kind of was inappropriate on set, and just other allegations are coming out because it came out that he hired Johnny Depp's PR team. So something's going on, and it's already being said that Justin Baldoni will not direct the next movie if they do one, which at this point, with how insane this has gotten, I have to feel like there's no way that sequel is happening. But also, I think this movie did super well, and Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds being the business people that they are, it's hard to believe they wouldn't go for that cash grab again. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see what ends up playing out with that, because it's just not looking good. Like, some of the behind the scenes clips and stuff, it looks like there was some major tension between Justin and Blake. It's kind of seeming like, you know, Justin was the director, and it seems like Blake kind of took it over a little bit, and it's come out that Ryan Reynolds actually rewrote some of the scenes, like, during the writer's strike, and just all sorts of more and more. Every single day, stuff is seeming to snowball, and more is coming out about this movie and how the behind the scenes of it apparently weren't very good. Which is surprising, because they managed to create a really great movie out of it. So yeah, guys, it feels like an interesting, like, end to a chapter, you know, this movie coming out. I have a feeling, I'm just yapping at this point again, I honestly don't think Colleen Hoover is going to write any more books. If she does, I think it won't be for a long time. We've seen a very interesting arc with Colleen Hoover, and I have said it a million times, I am in no way Colleen Hoover's biggest fan. Like, I'm not. I really liked a couple of her books. Ugly Love, I really loved. I've talked about it so much on this channel. And I really liked Verity. I thought It Ends With Us was really great at the time that I read it, but you know, I think I've gotten older. I've gotten older since I started this channel, and I'm reading some different things, and she's not my favorite author by any means, but I think it'll be, like, studied in universities one day, or it should be, the rise and fall of Colleen Hoover, how she went from being, like, it used to be like when Book Talk first started, it was like a measure of taste. If you liked Colleen Hoover's books, like, you have taste, and like, oh, you read Colleen Hoover, I trust you, and people, like, loved her. And now it's like people have turned on her so hard, and it's like, if you like Colleen Hoover books, you have no taste. And it's like, I don't know exactly when that happened. And the same thing with It Ends With Us. It seemed like it was like everybody's favorite book, and they thought it was so great, and everyone was reading it, and it sold more copies than the Bible. Or was it It Ends With Us, or just Colleen Hoover in general? I think it was It Ends With Us, unless I'm crazy. I know she outsold the Bible a few years ago. I remember that happening. And I mean, she's obviously still doing just fine. Her books get read like crazy, but now it's like people just really don't like her, and she gets so much hate. And yeah, it's just very interesting to see. So and especially with, it's kind of making me sad, especially with the way this movie again is kind of written for her mom. It's based on what happened to her mom, and now it's turned into this just like mess, this absolute mess. And it seems like I know Colleen Hoover, I think, had to go on private or something on her Instagram, or she had to turn off her social media because it was just so out of hand. And yeah, I really would not be surprised after this movie kind of dies down if she just like disappears with her millions and millions and millions of dollars that she has made and doesn't come back for a really long time. And again, I'll be interested to see if they make It Starts With Us. I honestly didn't love that book. I have a whole video talking about it on this channel extensively. The book stressed me out so much, gave me an anxiety attack the entire way reading it because I was so stressed out because it's, you know, Lily and Atlas's love story after her leaving Ryle, and it was a stressful read, but I think knowing what happens now, I could go into the movie a little easier, and I'd be interested to see them do it. Like, if they came out with it, I would go and see it, but like I said, it's not seeming like it's happening right now. But yeah, guys, I would love to know what you thought of the movie. You know, if you liked the book, how did it compare for you? If you hated the book and you were just here to hate on the movie, you don't need to comment and say that. You can keep that to yourself. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thank you for watching if you watched this far, and I'll talk to you very soon. Okay, bye.